Drake say is popping his name throughout his media journey. When he talks about his influence, his experiences on that side of town, I hear dude name come out his mouth all the time.
I guess he was a big deal.
It seemed as so. That's what I did gather, just being generally aware of him, that he was one of them guys.
Yeah, and I guess he was a rapper, but I'm not tapped in with his music.
Me either.
Okay, well, bro is 40 years old, born in 1984, and just got arrested in Operation Sweet Silence. Drug bust in Georgia seizes 55,000 pounds of marijuana. 55,000 pounds. Just imagine 1,000 pounds. I remember the homeboy had a one-bedroom apartment, and he kept, I don't know, I would say he probably had like 100 pounds of weed in the kitchen cabinets. 100 pounds,
That used to look like a lot.
Yeah, it was all over the kitchen cabinet. 100 pounds of weed, 55,000 pounds of marijuana. In an operation, law enforcement called Operation Sweet Silence.
I wonder, was it in a warehouse? Was it in a truck, a diesel?
Let's see what it says here. Muskogee County Sheriff Greg Countryman announced a seizure of an enormous amount of drugs, along with several guns, cash seizures, and the arrest of 101 people involved in the sprawling criminal operation centered around two gangs in Columbus, Ohio. The Crips, I hate when they just say the Crips, the Crips and the Zohanans, and involved several government agencies, both local and federal.
That's 100 people.
Hey, when you see 101 people being arrested, what's the first thing you think of?
Telling.
Somebody telling. Somebody telling. The only time I seen a whole bunch of people arrested like this was those white motorcycle dudes in Texas. 80 of them got arrested. Nobody said nothing, and all of them got released. All right. The 2-year investigation ended with a lot of big numbers. All told, the operation seized 155 guns, 496 pounds of meth, 7 kilos of fentanyl, and 57 kilos of cocaine. They found marijuana too. They're saying that the street value of the weed is over $250 million, and the street value of the other drug seized was close to $300 million. And if you PeeWee Longway, I guess rap wasn't making enough money for you. Allegedly, of course.
Hey, it said before that he he hit the lottery twice on a high amount.
In real life?
Yeah,
literally?
Yeah, he got yeah.
Oh, and you think he used that money and flipped it?
I can't say. I was just throwing it out there that he hit the lotto twice before in his life.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
About the lotto?
Yeah. Because they do have that lottery in Georgia. But this is a serious Georgia RICO case that looks like...
How I go from Georgia to two gangs in Ohio?
Did I say Ohio?
Yeah, at one point I think you did.
I'm sorry. It says Columbus, and in my mind,
Okay.
I said Ohio. It's Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
But Ohio, one of Ohio's big cities is Columbus.
Okay.
My
Say
bad.
less, say less.
Two gangs in Columbus, Georgia, the Crips and the Zohanans. Never heard of the Zohanans.
Must be some type of derivative of the old nation or something.
Oh, could be, huh? Could be.
I just my guess.
The Zoes down from Florida.
Right.
PeeWee pushed in the 60s.
Yeah, so I got a clip here I want to play of this arrest. Play this clip.
Top story, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of drugs and guns, Glock switches and other items taken off the streets thanks to a special detail that culminated Thursday in Muskogee County.
Law enforcement call it Operation Sweet Silence, which was a 2.5 years in the making, aimed at taking down gang members and cutting crime. News 809's Catrice Nolan joins us live in our newsroom tonight with more on this takedown.
Catrice, we understand multiple local, state, and federal agencies involved in this operation.
That's right. Several agencies involved, and this is the number. Over $279 million in street value of what they seized. And the FBI, the GBI, the DEA, and others all worked together for Operation Sweet Silence. Now, the sheriff says although they took more than 2.5 years moving in silence, the takedown was seen and heard across the Chattahoochee Valley. These are the mugshot and faces of some of the people just arrested in the Columbus area through what they are calling Operation Sweet Silence. The multi-agency takedown has been planned for more than 2 years. Muskogee County Sheriff's says it took overtime hours to put that many people behind bars.
The Muskogee County Sheriff's Office has worked in lockstep with the FBI and the DEA to go after some very dangerous gang members of the Zohannan gang, members of the Crips.
District Attorney Don Kelly telling us that gang activity has led to high homicide rates in Muskogee County.
We've seen the homicide rate more than double because of gangs, and we are going to continue to target gangs.
19 of the suspects facing federal charges, 12 of those cases being prosecuted locally. The drugs and other illegal weapons seized in this operations have a street value of $279 million, something the U.S. Attorney's Office says was a large amount for this area.
This was a major operation, one of the largest, I think, in Columbus history, and it was, the point is to really target folks who are doing the most damage in the community.
Spilling the drugs and crime into other areas like Harris and Russell.
You know what's caught about this?
What's that?
He about to take the he about to have to take the hit for a whole lot of people. Is it because I don't think he that big of a drug dealer and shit, but he the face. You know what I'm saying? He the famous person. So
Yeah, he might just be a low level participant in this.
Not nowhere near that high. So. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because when they showed the mugshots of some of the guys arrested, they didn't show Pee-wee's face. They're not treating Pee-wee like he's the ringleader.
He
like
can't be. Not with that. Not with the drugs value in that high. Can't be.
But he's definitely in this
indictment.
Yeah, he's in the arrest. And the crazy part is, if you listen, they said 19 of these guys are going to be charged federally. And they're going to let the other ones go to Georgia, and they're going to charge them state. Because they want, when they have these multi-agencies coming together, they're not going to come together unless you're going to give us some of these defendants. We want some of them too. We're not going to help y'all investigate this crime in Georgia, but we're not going to get any so that we can put in our prisons. So I guess the agreement was you get 20% of the defendants, right? 19 of the 101 are going to go to the feds, and the other 82 will be prosecuted by the state.
That's my prediction, right? I believe somebody off that YSL case tipped them off about this. Somebody that got cut a break over there regarding the YSL case turned them on to this.
Well, listen to this. Listen to this last paragraph, Munch. Complex reported that the rapper PeeWee Longway was among the 101 individuals arrested, though his name does not appear in the press release of the federal indictments. Another small-time Georgia rapper going by the name YSN Trap was included in that list of 19 people facing federal charges, though. Okay, I thought the YSN was actually YSL, but YSN is something different.
Right.
So this is reporting that Pee-wee's name is not in the indictment, so I'm a little confused.
No, they said in the press release.
Yes, his name's not in the press release.
Yeah, but they didn't say not in the indictment.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, they're reporting that he's arrested.
Based on that his name and in the initial indictment, that's what they just said initially, or just in the press release.
Yeah, it was just a press release, but you would think that they would make sure that his name is included, being that he's probably one of the bigger, well-known names out of these 101 guys.
Well, maybe they just trying to shake him up, and they really ain't got nothing on him. Hopefully, it's like that. You feel me? Or they just trying to shake him up or something.
Well, we'll follow this case and bring some updates on it, but it appears that his name was not mentioned even in the news, in that news clip we just watched, and they didn't even show a mugshot of Pee-wee out of the handful of mugshots that they showed.
You know why? Because you get sued when you flash people face on the nose and then you ain't got nothing.
And according to this other article, it says here, it's unclear what role Longway may have played in the operation, though multiple outlets have reported he was indeed arrested during the raid. He is known for collaborating with other rappers, Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan, Migos, and many others. So it's a little unclear what his role is allegedly in this.
hearing that, it seemed like that they want to build something on them, but then they ain't really got nothing. But that's not fair, like, to not really have what they need. I don't know, man.
Well, it seems like another rapper is getting charged in one of these crazy cases, if it is true. And it just doesn't end. It just doesn't end.
Yeah, hopefully not.
The end of this article says PeeWee Longway's team has not yet spoken about his potential charges. It's also unclear if he has been released.
See, you know how everything seems so bad in the beginning?
Yeah.
And then after a while, it's like, you know what I'm saying? He might be all right, man. Hopefully he is. I'm going to throw a prayer his way.
It kind of reminded me of the Beasley situation. He was getting all these charges came down on him, and pretty much most of it all got reduced.
Right. Things, it's greater later.
Have you spoke to Beasley last few days? Any update on him?
Nah, I ain't spoken to him since the last time.
Okay. All right. Since you mentioned YSL, Munch, I wanted to talk about seeing this guy, Woody, who's been testifying in the Young Thug case for the last, I don't know, several weeks. He's been on the stand. Is he still on the stand, or did he finally finish?
I don't know.
Well, he's been making his rounds, doing interviews just about on all the big platforms, and in the process, he's charging a nice amount of money. And I just find it interesting that this guy has been able to monetize him telling on a case into this internet stardom.
That's weak, ain't it?
I think so.
That's weak. I agree.
But obviously, a lot of people want to see him, want to watch him, are interested in his story, and are willing to pay to put him on the platform, Spider.
I think we're expecting too much out of the internet and these platforms. One of the biggest movies known to our culture, Nino Brown, he went down telling. If you look at the history of a lot of the gangsters that make it to the movies, they go out telling. And I think this is just kind of like the reaction of society to a gangster story that ends up telling. And it's just more closer to us because we so much involved in talking about this stuff. It's on the internet. It's more involved in hip-hop. So we don't like it. We're disappointed. But I think that's society general reaction to these type of guys.
I know. I kind of tripped out when I saw Sammy the Bull on YouTube. I was like, wow.
Yes. This story's all... Go ahead.
Was New Jack City based on a true story?
The factual part wasn't. It was the part that Nino Brown was like a hero amongst us for years, even though he went out like that. John Gotti. People use his name, versions of his name as MCs, and he went out bad.
No, John Gotti.
John Gotti
He didn't?
No,
Okay, my bad.
Sammy the Bull told on John Gotti.
Who was the one died of the syphilis?
Al Capone.
Al Capone, my bad.
But he didn't go out bad either.
Either.
Nah, they got him on tax evasion.
Hey,
Right.
man.
But definitely Sammy the Bull told on John Gotti. If you watch the movie Goodfellas,
I seen Goodfellas.
Henry Hill ended up telling on that whole faction of I think they were the Genovese family. Henry Hill told on everybody there.
Didn't Frank Lucas tell too?
Frank Lucas.
That's if you it's to depend on who you ask, because he did his thing on the police. You know, at the end of the movie, he had the thing up and just telling how everything was. You know what I'm saying?
One of the more disappointing guys on the East Coast, a brother that told was
I want to see if you say the name I'm thinking.
damn, I just had it.
Alpo.
No, not. This is more old school, because when you said Frank Lucas, Spider, it made me think of
I wanted to see if you say what I'm
Oh
thinking.
my gosh, what is bro's name now? Just forgetting. He told in a big way. He used to be on the cover of the New York Magazine.
Not part of the Supreme team.
No, before Supreme Team. We talking about the 70s.
The Cuban getting Junior play him in the movie American Gangster.
I'm not sure. It'll come to me. My bad. It'll come to me.
This dude back in Frank Lucas days, he was one of the dudes that got away. It wasn't in jail for that, but they ended up telling because he.
Nicky Barnes, my bad.
Is that who somebody boned his broad and he ended up telling?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Guy Fisher hooked up with Nicky Barnes' girl when Nicky Barnes was in jail. And he said that was one of the reasons why he told, because he saw that his own folks would do that to him.
6ix9ine said that similar.
Yeah, he did say that. That's kind of like an excuse, huh?
Of course.
You got to assume that once you locked up, your girl is going to move on. right?
Of course.
You can't.
But you know, in the mafia, that was supposed to be like cardinal rule.
Yeah. They got that as a written rule. Like, you don't mess around with nobody's wife, nobody's girlfriend, no matter what.
But Nicky Barnes, I believe, I could be wrong, he was already sentenced. He in jail. You didn't have to tell. So he solely told, I believe he really a tender dicker. And then he's like, oh, F this. You feel me?
But Nicky Barnes was doing stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing when he was free.
Yeah.
He gave interviews to the New York Times. He was on the cover of a magazine. He was kind of doing the stuff that John Gotti was doing. John Gotti was
A big ass show off.
Yeah, John Gotti was wearing, $3,000 suits, driving around in the Benz, doing interviews with Geraldo Rivera, taking questions like mafia questions, and he'd just be like, "Oh, I got no comment on that." Like, bro, you ain't supposed to be even entertaining that.
Okay, this will be a fact check for next week because they get in the comments and let us know. They said when Alpo came home, them DC dudes threw him a party after coming home after all them years when he told.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
It be that give us if that's short facts in the comments. So go ahead and log in. But come on, you celebrating the snitch coming home?
But Nicky Barnes died in 2012. I'm not sure if he was in jail or he was free, but there was an article. The New York Times Magazine, "Mr. Untouchable" was the title. You know what the police is saying when they're reading this? They're like, "Okay, you're next.
You taunting them?
You're next, bro." Same thing with John Gotti.
Teflon.
He was on the cover of one of these magazines and it said Teflon Don.
Mm-hmm.
The feds was like, "Nope, you next." So you gotta lay low. Like you ever heard of Meyer Lansky, the Jewish gangster? Dude lived to be like 90 years old, never went to jail. You never saw him anywhere, but he was behind Vegas, the casinos, Lucky Luciano, all the Italian mafia, and you never heard from the dude. Let me see how old Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky is my favorite gangster, man. Jewish dude. Was schooling all the Italians on how to do it.
So
Meyer Lansky died in 1983. He was born in 1902, so he was 81. 81 years old.
So it's safe to blame it on social media. If it wasn't on social media, nobody had the platforms to be.
Yeah, but even before social media, like what John Gotti and these guys are doing, newspapers.
I'm talking about
interviews.
Sammy the Bulls and what's his YSL Woodies and shit doing 20 verses.
Oh yeah.
They even paying for these interviews, getting paid off the interviews and shit. But all right, so who else interviewed YSL Woody other than No Jumper?
I didn't watch any of them, but I did see. I probably looked at the first minute or two of No Jumper. I believe it was Adam and Remo, but then the other ones I didn't see. But yeah, there's at least, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 interviews that have happened in the last week or two that have featured Woody. And I noticed in the first couple of minutes with Adam, he's bragging about all the money he's making doing interviews.